Hey, this is Pastor Curry, pastor of the Zion Fair Baptist Church, Wilmington's most exciting church, the church that love ya and anything you can do about it. Today with Coffee with Curry, I'm excited. Delaware State University has been and continue to be on the move. They're doing some great stuff down there. And I was at a basketball game just last week, and Brother Ridgway told me, you got to meet this awesome brother who's just been hired in July. He's come in, he shook some stuff up, made some stuff happen, and doing some great stuff for Delaware State University. He has an interesting name, and this one, if I don't get it right when I say it to you all, I want to make sure that we do it right when he appears with us today. But his name is Temesghen Starr. This brother is brilliant. He's from many places. We're going to get to know him really well because I can say he's from the West Coast. I can say he's from another place. But today, I just want to make sure we spend some time talking to this brother. And for those of you who are watching us, please call somebody else. Tell them that Coffee with Curry is on, and let's get after it.
Good morning, Delaware and surrounding areas. You are now tuned in to this week's Coffee with Curry. Join us every Sunday at 11 a.m. with new guests every week. So grab your cup of coffee and join us on Coffee with Curry.
And we're back. Brother Starr, if I can say that, and I shared with the people as I was doing my intro, your name, Temesghen.
Yep.
We got a lot to talk about today, but I really need to know, how did your parents come up with that name?
Yeah. So my dad, Albert Starr, is a Lutheran pastor. Many years, he and my mom were on a mission trip in Tanzania and Ethiopia. They lived there for about a little bit shy of under a year. Mm-hmm. And the people that they lived with there for 9 months became really close friends of the family. And they said, hey, when you have a child, name it Temesghen. It means Thanksgiving to God.
Wow.
So here I am.
Thanksgiving to God. And Delaware State can say the same thing. Thanksgiving to God. You've been a blessing to the place. There are so many.
And I should say the same thing.
Yeah, well,
as well.
And it's good to be grateful. So we appreciate that. I've been talking to a couple of people, and I start off with Brother Ridgway, who is really close. His mother was a life member of this church, and when she transitioned, I know we showed the love that we always would do, but he has been such a strong supporter as well. He said to me at the game, I have a brother I want you to meet. This brother is good. And with the humility that you certainly possess, you came right over and we talked for a second. You had your little son in your hand as well. But tell me, how did you find yourself at Delaware State University?
Well, I would just like to say, we're all on an interesting journey and an appreciative journey. Mm-hmm. And, it's funny. I started receiving phone calls from Vice President at the university, Tony Tucker, as well as on behalf of Dr. Allen, just in regards to some consulting about fundraising, development for athletics. I was running my business out of Los Angeles at the time, Starr Sports Management. Okay. Which basically did consulting for universities in regards to placements of coaches, placements of athletic directors, as well as their development processes. And from my background there, just started getting the phone calls from Tony and building a conversation and relationship. And, doing my research, just really started to fall in love with what it was that Dr. Allen really set out for the university in his vision, and just started taking that a step deeper and, not being so much the guy on the outside looking in saying, oh, you guys should do this, you guys should do that, but really wanting to become a part of it. Mm-hmm. And they forged me the opportunity to come aboard, and, the family and I moved across the country, and here we are.
Yeah. And that's why I said you could be from many different places. Now, since the first segment, I always like to get to know the person. We'll get into the business a little bit in a few minutes. You talked about your parents. Your father is a pastor, a Lutheran pastor. Tell us a little bit about growing up as a preacher kid.
Well, it's funny. My dad, I grew up as a PK. Yeah. But my dad was the pastor at Ascension Lutheran Church, that was our family church. But my mom was also the principal at the school.
Wow.
So I didn't make a left turn or a right turn without somebody knowing what I was doing, be it not just on campus, but also in the community. Yeah. We lived literally 2 blocks away from the church school as well. So from kindergarten all the way through 6th grade, I was pretty much in the same community. Okay. But I would say my dad was really great with the fact, as well as my mom, with the fact that they allowed me to grow up and be who I was going to
Excellent.
be, truly instilled some confidence in me.
Yeah.
And I would say a lot of that is that church community. As you know, when everybody just kind of knows your name and is looking out for you, it gives you a different sense of pride in who you are, where you come from, but also lets you go out later on in life and just say, hey, because I do have this number one foundation in Christ, but also growing up with that family background of, hey, it's okay to go try some things.
Wow.
That's just given me a little bit of the confidence of who I am. And I talk about that a little bit more in the book that I wrote.
You wrote a book?
Back in 2019, I wrote a book, published a book called You Are Not Smaller Than the Room. And we talk a lot about how confidence plays into who you are, but really how your family builds that confidence as well.
Yeah, and that's, you really kind of helped me today, are you your only child?
I'm not.
You're the oldest?
I am technically the middle.
The middle child, okay.
Yeah.
But you helped me because one of the things that you just shared is that your parents allowed you to be in your own skin. You understood the dynamics of your family, mom being the principal, dad being the pastor, and you were able to do you. And I think that's so important. And a lot of people don't understand. I have a daughter where we allowing her to be her. If she wants to dance, we let her dance. If she wants, because at some point, if you suppress, I believe, it tends to act out somewhere later on. So I think that's excellent. And how are your parents doing now?
They're great. My dad's most recently moved back to LA. He was living in Chicago as the director of African Descent Ministries with the Lutheran Church globally, is now pastoring back in Los Angeles at a small Lutheran church there. Just kind of couldn't give up and couldn't, retirement wasn't quite his thing. And my mom is actually the operations director of My Friend's House Incorporated, which is the nonprofit that is a part of Ascension Lutheran Church still. It started out as Neighborhood House, which was a food distribution center right after the LA riots. Because one of the things that we found there in South Central Los Angeles is that, outside of the Ralphs and the Buddha Market, which were right there off of Slauson and Crenshaw, there was a food desert. And after the civil unrest, that they like to call it, 1992, and even most recently, some of these grocery stores in the areas have closed. So, we see that there's a lot of families in the area that, look for food, are in need, but then at the same time, sometimes just may need a little bit of help. And we typically serve about 150 to 300 families on a weekly basis every Wednesday. Even throughout the pandemic, the nonprofit never closed down. And, I most recently stepped down as the executive director of My Friend's House because I moved out here to Delaware, but still as an active board member, it's one of those things where, giving back and giving people the opportunity to, have food is something that, we see as very important.
Yeah. It's interesting when you talked about the neighborhood house. We have one who is sponsored by the Lutheran Church right in this community.
Oh, really?
A neighborhood house right here in this community. And some of the fundamental, the fundamental principles that you spoke of is what guides them. And I think that's awesome in saying that. You also shared that you have a book that you have produced in 2019. Tell us the title again, because I want everybody to rush out and get it. I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to bring you back so we can talk about it. But tell us a little bit about the title, number one, and a little bit more about it.
So the title is You Are Not Smaller Than the Room.
You are not smaller than the room.
The purpose of the book was just to, it's a quick, short read. I mean, you're a smart guy, so you're going to read it in
I'm
30
not
minutes.
Smart. No.
So, the purpose and the intent of the book is to really just allow adults to remember that, no matter what space it is that you enter, no matter what place it is that you go, remember that you're there for a reason. And not one person, I don't care their title, I don't care their bank account, their societal status, whatever it may be, you're in that room because you bring a purpose and you have some value as well. So no, you're not smaller than the room.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now I'm a pastor, and that sounds like a good sermon. I might have to read it so I can pull
Yes.
some nuggets out of it.
Uh-huh.
How can we get this book?
It's actually on Amazon.
Okay.
Back in 2019, it was an Amazon bestseller for a little while.
Excellent.
So I think they all get those. They all get that award.
No, they don't. They don't.
But yeah, it's on Amazon. You order it today; it'll be here in the afternoon, and there it is.
Well, for those of you who are watching this, I do want you to order it. I'm going to order it, and I might even order it for my ministers so that they can. We do reads where we read things and we discuss them.
Mm-hmm.
I like the premise of it, so we're going to see how that works out. And I'm glad. I didn't even know we were going to even talk about that. You got so many dimensions to you that one little area was not going to be our total conversation today.
Yeah.
You are also married and have children. Tell me a little bit.
Not married just yet.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. But yes, am in a relationship right now.
Okay.
We do have a 2-year-old.
Okay.
I have a 13-year-old as well.
Okay.
So I have Caden, Clayton, and Angelique.
Uh-huh.
And, we moved here, family all moved here in September.
Okay.
I was out here since July.
Right, okay.
And, being across the country has been a little different for us. It's not quite urban Los Angeles, but but we've been welcomed, I would say, by the community with open arms. Everyone here has been great to us, be it from, president to everyone on campus.
Yes.
I've made some really good close friends here in town. The moment that I got to Delaware, it's funny, one of my close friends back from Los Angeles, she's from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. She connected me with a good friend of hers all the way back from middle school and high school. She said, hey, when you get to Delaware, you got to connect with my boy Naquan. And, he's just welcomed me with open arms and, has become a quick, not just fast friend, but a good brother. Mm-hmm. And we're here.
It's funny. We share my career in Delaware started at Delaware State University, as I was sharing with you, and I will attest and agree with you that the folks at Delaware State has always been kind, loving, supportive. Everywhere you go, there's going to be politics, but at the end of the day, you are smart enough to know where to avoid and what to cling towards. I'm grateful that you are at Delaware State. If you would hear Ridgway talking about you behind your back, you would be like, wow, am I really that guy? The humility that he spoke of, you far exceeds it rather. But I'm just grateful to hear, the family is with you now. You're here, you're settled in, which means if you're going to come all the way from California, you're not here to stay for a day.
No. You're
going to be here for a minute. And there are some great things that you are already doing. And I heard you played a major role. I know you don't want to take any credit, but the people on the outside are saying that you played a major role in getting DeSean Jackson to Delaware State. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. And we're going to talk about his role, him coming in, because we're excited about that too, being that I am a true Eagles fan. I'm from Philadelphia. But I just want to say before we go to our commercial break that we here in Wilmington as well as in Delaware, we welcome you here, and whatever we can do to support you, we're going to do it. And one of the things that we discovered was your title, and the assistant vice president for athletics growth and revenue. In general, I guess
generation.
Generation. I put the last part on there. Generation. So that means you're going to need us to show that your worth is worth staying, because we're going to have to make sure that some money is coming into Delaware State now. And with all that's going on, where these players can go to different universities based on who can give them the most money, we're going to talk a little bit about that too. Why it's important that we in the African American community, as well, all people, support HBCUs, but we were talking about Delaware State, and I want to keep it there because last year when we were talking with Coach Waterman, the men's basketball coach, one of the things he said on the show is that he lost 2 players because they got on the portal and listen, they're trying to do what's best for themselves. Right. And we have to make sure we are giving the packages where people want to stay, and he's doing well right now with what he has. But we want people to stay. I know we would have dominated MEAC had all of his team stayed together. But I want to make sure that those of you who are watching us, that you really, really prepare yourself to start giving to Delaware State. That's our institution. That's the oldest historically Black college in the state of Delaware, and we want to start making sure that we're giving. And we got a brother here who certainly I'm very much impressed with, and I'm going to not just be impressed with my words. I want to make sure that financially our organization, Zion Fair, is giving, so that when we're asking you to give, we're giving as well. When we come back from this commercial break, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on with the athletic department. We'll be right back. And we're back. It was a great opening, and I'm very grateful that Brother Starr took time out of his schedule. I know he has to rush and get up to Norfolk, because this is the week for our MEAC tournament. But he took the time to come and have a chat with us, and I'm glad that those of you who have viewed in are with us today. While we was just talking, it was revealed that he also even coached, because he has a soft voice. And he said he used to coach. So one of the things, I'm on my feet when it comes down to certain things. So when you watch him stay and do what he does, although he does a very good job, how do you react when he doesn't do things you think he should do? How do you feeling when okay, I wouldn't have done that. I know you don't yell it out, do you?
No.
Okay.
I would say this: Coach Waterman, Shahid, Vern, Horace, they do an amazing job. Let me start by saying that. And when we are sitting in the bleachers, it's very easy to say, "Oh, well, I would have done this." Yeah. You don't know that locker room. You don't know that in-game thought. There's plenty of different times when I was assistant coach, head coach, where I said, you go back, you watch the film, you say, "Oh, I should have done this," or "Oh, I wish I would have done that." Those split seconds of time are what make coaches extremely great and extremely pressure cooked and tested. And never once, I'll say this: Coach Waterman's doing a great job. Yeah,
if nothing else, he's politically correct. Right. But I believe that he is. He is. Yeah. I sit in the stands always, and I've never really. I've not even played basketball. I was a wrestler, and I did some football when I was in high school. But on college level, I certainly I wrestled. But we all think we're the best coaches. I love basketball. I love men's basketball, college basketball. I'm a Duke fan. I'm a Delaware State first fan, but I am a Duke fan. So when it comes down to the fundamentals of basketball, I kind of love it. Sure, we always have our opinion, but you do the right thing, and that is you admire the fact that he is who he is as the coach, and you certainly support that. I want to get a little bit into Delaware State's athletic department. It's exciting right now.
It is.
I mean, not just basketball. It's exciting across the board. There's some great stuff going on. Before we even talk about DeSean Jackson that is there now, tell us a little bit about the involving of this whole athletic department.
I would say, first and foremost, I would say that the first thing that truly takes us to the involvement of the Delaware State Athletic Department is what is that they set out was the it's called the athletic transformation right now. Dr. Allen put in place what was called the Athletic Transformation Committee about 2 years ago. That started what became what we know now as the Athletic Transformation Fieldhouse, which we hope to have shovels in the ground by the end of this summer. The lead gift was brought by a gentleman named Steve Ewing, who is a class of '83 graduate, who I've become very close with and gotten to know. It's huge. And, we start by talking about the capital, but then you have to go into the people. Dr. Allen has, made some changes. We have Tony Tucker right now, who's a local Delawarean, as the athletic director. Drew Ingraham, who he brought aboard as well. A guy who I worked with many years ago back at Montana State, who is the deputy athletic director. You've got some really, Mark Bennett is the the new compliance guy. We've got Brian Ellerby, who was a former, head basketball coach at University of Michigan. I mean, you've got people in place within the department now who know where things should be going. We've got, Jessica Jackson, who's the budget analyst and, for finance and everything within the department. So, you're starting to see all these different pieces to the puzzle being thrown into the cup. So pretty soon, you only have one choice, and that's for the cup to run over.
Right.
So when you have all that talent, as you know, it starts to things start to come in place. You're starting to see different things like, the support for all the coaches they can feel it. Student athletes are starting to hold their heads up a little bit higher. The culture is shifting. And I would say that, it started because of what's called the athletic transformation. That's one of the main things as we look at, a 5-year plan, about capital campaigns, it starts there. When student athletes can really start to say, oh, you know what, I have a sense of pride in where I'm going because of the things that they have, it allows you to recruit. It allows you to retain. I know you talked about, the retention piece about the portal and the shifts and the changes that come along with that. But then, as you see words that are intentional, like transformation, I think then that people then start to say, okay, how else can we change? Okay. And that kind of goes back full circle to, myself coming aboard as well. When you look at, what Dr. Allen's vision was in regards to athletics and us as a community putting our arms around athletics, it's not just about, hey, I'm going to show up to every once in a while game. You made mention that, you've been a season ticket holder for 25 years of athletics. The change then becomes, what more can I do for the university? What more can I do for athletics? And not just showing up just for homecoming, but showing up to where it becomes a mainstay. Because when it's not just popping in town every once in a while or, oh, I'm going to catch a game on a Saturday, but showing that, hey, let's pack Memorial Gym out. Let's pack Alumni Field out every game. That then shows and attracts talent from other places.
That's right.
That allows you to, like you said, number one, be able to make a phone call and, have DeSean Jackson, who has done everything in the DMV area, but especially right up the road in Philly, be interested in giving back and coming to a university like Delaware State and making it now one of the storied institutions that people become interested in.
Yeah. As you were speaking, I was very much grateful that you spoke of Dr. Allen's vision and he's moving forward with it. Delaware has not seen this level of transformation. Because I don't want to go off and not be learned and say ever, but in my lifetime.
Well, it's true. Not to cut you off there, but it's true. In the university's 133 years of its totality, most recently getting I will say this. Delaware State University has done an amazing job of getting funding from, this community, from businesses. We see the scholarship ball that our institutional advancement does every December. That is packed out. It's one of the things that I attended for the first time in this December, and I was just like, wow, they do a great job. You've got 850 to 1,000 people in the room there at the Chase Center. Obviously, they outgrew Bally's, but the community comes. We show up. But now, it's what else can we do to move this forward? And that's where private philanthropy, private development, private support makes a difference.
Right.
It's not so much just, we can't always, as a Black community, as HBCUs, as whoever, we can't always look and say, hey, what is the government doing for us? It's what are we doing in support of ourselves? That's where, supporting institutional advancement, that's where supporting the athletic department or different entities, teams, And now, just flat out NIL and the collective, that's where people can make a difference. And we can't continue to be in a place where we say, oh, well, we don't have this and we don't have that. I wish, we can't compare ourselves to others if we aren't going to support like others do.
That's right. And, and that's something that really has to be taught in the African-American community. Right now we're going through, and I'm not asking you to respond to this because I don't want you, in your position, I don't want you to respond to it, but we're going through a government where we don't even know if the funding is going to be there. When we can self-fund, we don't have to worry about that.
Correct.
And that's really the message that you're saying, that I'm hearing, shall I say, that at some point we have to begin to increase our levels. When Tony Allen was on the show several months ago, I was so impressed with how many private donors we are now getting at Delaware State, who are now giving a look, who in the past didn't even think about us. But it is such, when you see the alumni giving go up. Now, at our congregation, I'm going to say to the congregation, I'm going to invite you, once all of this MEAC stuff is over, to come and present just a hello to Izai and Fair. We have a lot of Delaware State graduates there. Yeah. And how I know is when it's time for us to celebrate Black History Month or whenever, and then we tell everybody wear their paraphernalia, whether in fraternities or whatever, that's when you know you got a house full of Panhandle and a house full of the graduates from HBCUs. But it's not always about the $10,000 contributors. Giving back whatever you can as often as you can, make a difference. And that's what I'm hoping that people would start buying into.
It's funny, as I was on the way up here to visit with you, I was speaking to a lady on the phone, and she said, oh, I don't got it like that. I said, well, wait a minute. It's not about how you don't got it. It's about how you do have it. And, different things that we have in place right now, the Hornets Up 50 campaign that we're doing as an annual campaign for athletics. Obviously there are preset number amounts that we would like you to give, but there's also an other box. And what we've found is that the other box allows people to go above, and the other box allows people to go a little bit below, where they're comfortable. Not below, but where they're comfortable. But the key thing is, just like we tithe, it's what do you do on a recurring basis? We have Netflix on a recurring basis. Why should you not have your tithe on a recurring basis? Why should you not have what you'd like to give to the university, so that the university can say, oh, you know what? I know what Pastor Curry's going to do. So that then when we decide to do those stretch gifts, that's where we see the difference being made.
And I'm very grateful that, in fact, you tied everything in pretty nicely with the recurring giving. It's about what you can do as opposed to what you cannot do. But I'm going to make sure that we talk to our Delaware State graduates who are here and ask them, what have you done lately for Delaware State? Delaware State have changed the trajectory of people's lives for many people. And our gratitude should be to give something back, I think, and we're not criticizing the alumni, because there are those who give back, but unless we at 100%, we still got work to do.
And it's funny. At every university that I've ever been a part of, alumni can always say, oh, well, you know what? Forget such and such university. They did me wrong. They did you wrong. But then, when we peel back the layers, and sometimes I think a lot of what needs to happen is there needs to be a person like myself or someone in institutional basement to just sit down and just make the conversation and find out, well, what did you enjoy about your experience? What from your experience made you into the person that you are today? So many different times I think that we don't ask the right questions to allow people to then realize, oh, wait a minute, maybe Delaware State did do a lot more for me than I'm giving Delaware State credit. Because if you continue to come back to homecoming, if you continue to show up to the MEAC, if you continue to still put on your sweatshirt with pride, I'm guaranteeing you that there was a lot more that you take from the experience then you're giving the recognition.
Right.
So if that's the case, why should you not do a little bit more for that next generation? Otherwise, when it becomes time, like we're seeing with not just so many different HBCUs, but so many institutions in general that are closing doors, let's not be shocked when that happens.
Right.
Because you could have made a difference.
Yeah, it was funny when you were sharing that. When I went to my undergrad experience was at Lincoln University, and Dr. Darker says she's gone on now, but she said something to us as a senior class in our closing banquet that I'm never going to forget. She said, for every person who may be disgruntled over this issue, the financial aid line being too long, or whatever the issue may be, she turned it and said, it built character in you.
Yeah.
She talked about you now know alternative ways to make things happen. You're graduating, you get ready to leave. You cannot let the negative become your life, because this institution has really been there for you. And listen, it helped me to see something differently. And I hear you. And what I hear you saying is that we have to really take whatever we have perceived as negative and say, you know what? It built something in me. It helped me because I'm where I am today.
Right.
Excellent. And we do need more of you out there. Because I remember the speech that she gave, and it wasn't like she was trying to sell us. She was trying to tell us, you've made it.
Yeah.
You've made it. You cannot dwell in what may have gone wrong or perceived to have gone wrong. And I think that's just phenomenal. So for those of you who are watching us today, I wanted this to be more of a fun interview, but it's becoming a true understanding that we got to make sure that we're protecting our institutions, and especially Delaware State University. Again, 133 years have been in existence here as a land grant institution. We have to preserve it. We have to take care of it. We cannot ask somebody else to do for us what we fail and don't want to do for ourselves. I think that's very key. When we come back this time, I promise you, we're going to talk more about the athletics. We're going to talk about, some of the exciting things that's going on. But before I let go to the commercial break, tell us now, while it's still in the heart and in the heads of those who are listening, how can we give back to Delaware State?
Well, you can always give back to Delaware State a couple of different ways. The first way is by joining the Hornets Up 50, which is our annual giving campaign that we're running right now. We're trying to get to 10,000 members. Okay. The second way is by, giving to the collective, which is Hornet 302 Nation. That is the NIL collective that is in place for Delaware State Athletics. Third way is to the Capital campaign, the athletic transformation. All of that goes through the Office of Institutional Advancement as well as myself. Both of those things do. And then lastly, on the fun side, we've got a big golf tournament and soiree coming up, April the 25th. We're going to be doing a golf tournament at Wild Quail on the 25th. However, right there afterwards, we are going to have a reception, and the reception is going to have what I think is going to be some really fun engagement pieces, be it live auction, silent auction, as well as, some comedy, some music. It's just going to be a fun time where even if you don't golf, you can still come and attend, because there is the option to just attend that part as well.
Great.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. And we're back. What a great opportunity it has been to have Brother Starr with me. I'm trying to make it more fun, but what a great experience and opportunity to hear people who are committed to our institution. Delaware State University have produced so many giants, so many great things happening. You may say, well, all y'all have talked about was the athletic side. This is what I've been taught, and this is what I believe. I believe that it is the athletics that builds the character. And if the character is built right, everything else falls into place. Now, we're not lessening the excellence that is produced in Delaware State's education experience. Trust me when I tell you, it's just as strong. You had Dr. Allen here with us a couple of months ago, and he shared the academic programs that is going on and how we're the first in the nation in many different areas. So we're not just saying that, okay, let's just go with the athletics. But today, because we brought in a brilliant and a talent brother, and he's doing a phenomenal job in bringing in some of the great people, I wanted to make sure that you see how committed that the university is to ensuring that the character of the university is being built. That's all I wanted to make sure today. So, Brother Starr, in saying that, DeSean Jackson is with us.
He is with us, yep.
Was that a hard sell?
It's funny, it kind of was.
Okay.
Initially, reaching out to people back in California, I think we got the, nah, no thank you, but graciously declined. But I do believe that as DeSean had an opportunity to kind of sit with it and think about the grander scheme of things, and even his journey allowed him to, come full circle and say, well, wait a minute, maybe I am interested in that. And, jumping on the phone with our athletic director and Dr. Allen and, learning more about it, and, visiting with, like when he had the opportunity to visit with people back in California, it then became.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what kind of? I know him from the field. What kind of is he? Is he more of a people person, or is he more standoffish? What kind of person is he? I don't know.
No, and I think we got to get him up here so you can get to know him as well.
I would love to have him up here.
But great guy.
Okay.
Very much a people person. Very excited about the opportunity and very excited about the things to come. So wants to be 100% involved in everything and wants to know first, how can I help?
Excellent.
So great guy.
Good. And I'm gonna subliminally hear in my head for the next couple of months that maybe we need to get him up here. I would love to have him on this show because that would also share the excitement that is going on. But I don't want to hold that to you right now because I know y'all busy with me, so we're gonna get back to that another time. Last year, Delaware State University football program didn't do as well as anticipated. And what are we looking for this year's team to do? We know about the 1-11, but what are we looking for this year's team to do?
I think this year you're really just looking at the excitement, looking at the shift, looking at, if you talk to the football staff, they're going to tell you from Coach Jackson all the way down that they don't have time to build.
Okay, I like that.
Like schools used to do. And I think so much of our society, because everything is so quick, and as you're seeing the transfer portal, transfer portal goes both ways. You have the ability for a kid to leave and they can go on to greener pastures, what they think. But at the same time, we have the opportunity to bring in kids who are looking for greener pastures, whatever it may be on their side as well. Sometimes it may be, I need to step down a level so that I can get the opportunity to play more, so that I can get the opportunity to be a bigger fish in a small pond. And that's what some kids are looking for. But then at the same time, now you're seeing, they've got, our coaching staff has 4 or 5 guys who've played in the NFL.
Oh, wow.
So,
on staff.
On staff.
Yeah.
So when kids who are not just looking for a great education, because obviously Dr. Allen's done an amazing job with us being the number 3 public HBCU and number 9 overall. But now you have people who've been in the places where you want to go as a student athlete. Why not be a part of Delaware State? And I think what we're going to see is, number 1, the shift in culture. Number 2, the excitement. Number 3, you're going to see the change in support. I truly hope that the stands are packed, not just for homecoming October 11th, not just for when we play Michael Vick and Norfolk State on November the 1st.
Yeah, those will be the big ones.
But also, there are additionally 4 other home football games. How are we going to show up? But then, beyond that, where's that bar? And I think that, like you said, we're not looking for them to completely do a shift and go 11-1, but why not?
Okay.
If you talk to Coach Jackson, I don't think he's saying, oh, we just hope to win 2 games. I think
double it.
I think he's trying to get to the Celebration Bowl.
Absolutely.
Because then, Delaware State changes being one of those overlooked, overshadowed institutions for athletics. It becomes a true powerhouse, and that's what we're trying to build.
Yeah, and something that Brother Starr just shared, I want to make sure y'all caught it, and that is if you give, and that whole, I think it's the NIL, it helps for those who may want to step down to get connected with those who have already been where they're trying to go to come to Delaware State. Giving is going to be important because, again, you got to have the revenue to be able to offer them something as well. This is exciting. So Coach Jackson is basically saying, I want to not only shift the culture, but I want to do all we can to ensure that Delaware State University is noticed.
Correct.
Yes.
And most importantly, so that one thing that we can't forget about that he is embedding in these kids is the retention piece.
Yeah.
Because so much now, we see the transfer portal. We see kids have the opportunity to go to 4, possibly 5 universities in their college stint. What are they doing to, number one, get a degree? And number 2, what are they doing to have some sort of a foundation in life to realize that I can't just run away?
Yeah. Excellent. That's a good lesson that needs to be taught, especially in this generation. Everything is microwave. It's like quick, fast, and hurry. Let me shift a little bit because everyone doesn't play football or basketball. Those are 2 major ones that everybody tend to flock to a lot. But Delaware State University's athletic department have experienced some great success in other areas.
And it's funny. Coach Dave Brooks and Coach Victoria, they've done an amazing job with our volleyball team.
Yes.
Just won the MEAC again.
Can I stop you there for a second? If you didn't bring that up, I was going to, because my daughter is a volleyball player.
Okay.
And that's the only thing she noticed.
Yeah.
She noticed, she said, Delaware State University's our volleyball team is doing really well because they won that. So that's good. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I had to throw that in there real quick, especially since sometimes she watches me.
And it's funny, the volleyball coaches, they're 2 of like the most energetic, easygoing, but fun people to be around on campus. When you talk about recruiting, they're bringing in, they had to replace almost a whole team of seniors that, got them to the championship, but then they've got some really good young talent. Every morning at 6 a.m., their team's in the gym, getting after it, doing an amazing job. When you talk to Coach Brooks and Coach Victoria, they don't talk about anything except getting back to the MEAC championship. Yeah. They don't talk about doing anything but playing some of those bigger teams. Like they enjoyed playing Penn State. They enjoyed, playing all the bigger schools so that you can utilize that as a recruiting piece, but also allows you to get into MEAC conference play and know that, hey, we've been here before. This is just another game. You also have our bowling team right now who's still competing in the March Madness of bowling. Coach Sam, she's amazing. Our equestrian team is top 10 in the nation. Our triathlon team is top 10 in the nation. Things are really happening at Delaware State. Coach Jazz, our basketball coach, she's going to get there with those girls. They still need our support. And it's truly a good time, I think, from the whole department stance. Coach Bowen's doing a great job with recruiting, and he's one to watch with the golf team. Coach Swan,
which is not traditional for HBCUs golf.
No, equestrian, golf, bowling, triathlon. These are not your typical. African American produced sports. Right. Being a person who grew up playing hockey, I fell in love with Delaware State and the mission because of the trajectory.
I like
and where it can go. And we can be one of those storied institutions when we support, when we show up, when we push the envelope and get loud about Delaware State.
Yeah. You've given the good sermon. Now, how do we give in our offering again to Delaware State University?
Hornets Up 50, which is the annual giving campaign piece. The Athletic Transformation, which is for the capital campaign. Hornets 302 Nation, which is the collective. And then the fun stuff. The golf tournament, which is the Chairman's Invitational, April the 25th. Come be a part of that. When I was talking to someone, they said, I can't sponsor. Well, why can't you sponsor? If you can give $250 for someone else to golf, even if you don't golf, that's still sponsoring.
Right.
There's whole sponsors, there's sponsor at different levels. And then there's also just sponsoring and giving whatever it is that you can give. But most importantly, one of the things that I think we get away from is how do we build up our endowment? And our endowment isn't just, for the university, so to speak. Giving scholarships to athletics also helps build the university's endowment as well. And that's one of the things I'm happy to always talk to people about on an individual basis as well.
Yeah. How do we get in contact with your office? If someone watched this show today and they're saying, I want to connect with him, because there may be some larger donors out there who saying, I didn't know all this stuff was going on. Who is his brother? How do they get in touch with your office?
It's easy. Emailing me, tstarr, TSTARR, at DESU.edu is the most easy way. I walk around the house all day like this, pulling over lights like that. Email is the best way, and I just get right back to people. Because I believe that when we don't get back to people, we're not intentional about circling back on relationships. That's how things are missed.
And for all of you who have attended an HBCU, you will understand what I'm ready to say. That is not an HBCU tradition. What is not? Getting back to you right away. And when it's funny because when after you and I met, I said, let's connect.
Yeah.
You got back to me right away. I was like, I'm like, are you serious? I mean, is he serious? Yeah. Maybe he's not that important. That's what I said. That's probably why he got right back to me. And then I had some more conversations with other individuals. Like, no, you need to. He's a good bro. He's just, that's who he is.
Yeah.
But getting back to people, and he will do that. So I hope that you will get an opportunity. We had it at the bottom of the screen. We're going to put it back up again. I really want to make sure that y'all connect with them. If you know other organizations, churches, whether it be organizations that's happening here in Delaware that need to connect with Delaware State University, we have cried for a long time about how others were not treating us right. This is our moment to treat ourselves right. Let's find the sponsorships. Let's find the people who can really help Delaware State. Tony Allen, and I said this to him, and I'll say it again, he's a very untraditional HBCU president. HBCU have always prided themselves in finding their leadership from the academic side of the house. He came from the business side of the house. There was another one, Harvey, from Hampton years ago. But with what Tony have been able to do in the short time he's been there, purchasing a historically white college and now making it Delaware State University, third in the and with the academic programs we have, it's like he's done so much untraditional and bringing in the people who is changing the trajectory.
Right.
It's not we will always say we're HBCU, but I don't want people to take the negative connotation of an HBCU and think that's who Del State is, because in actuality we've come a very long way in this short time. So I hope that your time with us today will infuse somebody to say, you know what, whatever I can give, I'm going to give.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't go to Delaware State University. I pick on Dr. Allen all the time. I say, look, you're a UD grad. He said, but where am I serving?
Hello.
And that's important to understand.
Right.
I think we need to make sure that we're giving back, because this is the moment, in my opinion, when we can now show we can do it. Athletics, academic, and look, every aspect of Delaware State University is thriving. It's thriving. I mean, strong. So we're talking today about athletics, but if we're talking about the academic side of the house, it is doing very well. The campus is doing well. There's one thing I wanted to make sure I touched on that I heard you say it, and I want to make sure I bring it out a little bit. You said that you all are thinking about building
No, we're not thinking about building. We are building
Right.
what is going to be the nation's HBCU's first indoor practice facility.
Mhm.
That's going to encompass all of our sports. It's going to be the field house.
Mhm.
It was lead gift by Steve Ewing, and we're in the midst right now
Mhm.
of bringing in those additional donors. This is something that I know the state is going to get behind, but most importantly, it is something that does require private funding.
Right.
And, yeah, we cannot just do a couple of different barbecues and car washes and think that, this is something that, because it is out there and Dr. Allen wants us to have shovels in the ground before the end of this year.
This is what you just said. He wants shovels in the ground, which means there's a deadline to get started.
Right.
And that's another thing. While keeps going back and forth with this whole HBCU thing, we're not talking about something that may happen 20 years from now. You're talking about something that you want to happen right now, within the next several months.
Yep.
He wants the grounds going. Where are we thinking about building this at?
It's going to be connected to our football stadium.
Okay.
Right. So the student athletes are going to have the opportunity to football, number one, can practice and go right out. But then also the other sports can also practice there as well.
Okay.
Be it practice, be it physical therapy, everything as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And you should have saw how excited you got when I said let's stuff we talk about it. You're like, no, it is happening.
Yeah.
I think that's good. That's the excitement that's going on. Well, Brother Starr, listen, we are kind of out of time, and I feel so bad. Will you come back again if I invite you back?
I'd be honored to be
good.
back.
Well, I'm going to read your book.
Okay.
We're going to make sure we do that.
Yeah.
Tell us the title of it one more time.
You Are Not Smaller Than the Room.
You Are Not Smaller Than the Room. And that's the title of the book. Go out and get it. Go to Amazon. And I hope that we can, I don't know if the my great folks here at Easy Fair can get that where you can click right away and get it. Let's get it. Let's read it. I think I'm going to do something with my ministers to see if we could use it as an opportunity for us to come together. Because once every month we do something and we read very, very, and everything is not theological. Some things are just the basic fundamentals of life. And your excitement at Delaware State from the various sports that are going on, your role with us now, and we're just excited about it. And I'm hopeful that anything we can do as the Wilmington community, as me as the pastor of Easy Fair, I want to make sure I'm a part of it. I don't want this moment to pass by and I find that I was sleeping. So I hope those of you who are watching us today, you will have that same mindset. I don't want this golden opportunity to pass by. I coulda, woulda, shoulda, make it happen. That's going to be the key. Let me let you have the last word today. Anything at all you want to share with the Wilmington community, I want you to have this opportunity, and there's the camera there. You can share it in your own fashion.
I would say the biggest thing is this week, if you haven't had the opportunity to catch our women's basketball team, get to the MEAC tournament this Wednesday. They're playing. They need your support. This Thursday, our men's basketball team needs your support. And in Norfolk, both games in Norfolk Wednesday and Thursday. Go out, take your significant other, go have a little bit of fun time. Put your arms around Delaware State University. But then beyond that, in April, we're going to have a fun time on the 25th at Wild Quail. If you play golf, please come play golf. Put a team in, put yourself in, and then stay for the reception. If you don't play golf, come for the reception. Tickets can be purchased online at dsuhornets.com. And once again, email me anytime, tstarr, tstarr, at desu.edu. Happy to be a servant.
Thank you so very much. And I appreciate you for taking the time to be with me today.
Appreciate it, Pastor.
All right. And thank you for the hat, too. Yes. I want everybody to see I got a new hat, so I get all kind of gear when I bring the Delaware State folks here. Thank you very much. We'll be right back. And we're back. All I can say is wow. We had an opportunity to sit and listen and participate in a conversation, a little coffee conversation with Brother Starr. I asked him if I can call him Brother Starr because he's a fellow believer, one, and two, because he's a downright good brother. I have not known him but maybe a month now, and everything that have been shared with me about his heart for what he's doing and achieving the excellence that Delaware State University is trying to achieve, it's been true. And I'm grateful for him. And I hope that you will take your wallet out and dig in your pocketbook and let's help Delaware State. This is not a plea because we get ready to close down. This is a plea because it's time to go to the next level. We must learn how to support our own. We can always say what is not going to happen. And for those of you who know me, what Elon Musk is doing and Donald Trump, we don't even know if HBCU is going to be funded. We don't know. It's so much uncertainty out there. But if you're doing your part, I'm doing my part, we'll be protected. I need you to go, and you've seen throughout the whole show, and we'll show it again. How can you be a part with what's going on right now from the academic side of the house, from the athletic side of the house, and even from the financial side of the house? Delaware State University is moving on, and they're doing great. I ask that you would support. And you may say, well, Pastor Curry, you're not even a graduate of Delaware State University. That was the first place I worked at in Delaware. And I worked there for 5 years. And I enjoyed my time. It built the character I have, even to pastor the successful church that we have today. Help me support Delaware State, because I'm going to make sure Zion Fair is represented well. Till the next time we get together, may the Lord God bless you real good.
Thank you for watching this episode of Coffee with Curry. Tune in next week, Sunday at 11 a.m.